Story of an exquisite leadership. In 18th century lived the Dalai Lama, who grew his hair, practiced archery, and wrote erotic verse. I like this paradox of the epitome of celibacy and an ascetic trying to live like an ordinary man. The sixth Dalai Lama, the ocean of pure melody, Tsangyang Gyasto. He's still loved by Tibetans for his transgressions and for his songs. Do you know what he would do? He would descend from the high white Potala and pass the evening singing and dancing, wooing lovers in the drinking dens of the village of Shoal. He was a tall and a sensual guy, a dancer and a drinker. A beautiful person dressed in blue silk with rings in his fingers and braids in his hair. In the words of the street song of that time, in the Potala, he was Tsangyang Gyasto. And in Shoal, he is the unprincipled Tsangyang Wangpo. I think it was a kind of a protest. The king coming down to meet his people, to be among his people, to enjoy, to know them, to connect with them. And Tibetans still remember him the same way. He's one of the most popular Dalai Lama of all times. He used to write very interesting, very soulful verses, very verses full of love, full of desire. If only I could wed the one whom I love. Joys of gaining the choicest gem from the ocean's deepest bed would be mine. Another one for you. She smells sweet of body, my sweetheart, the highway queen. Like the worthless white turquoise, she was found to be thrown away. In 1706, he was murdered by the roaming tribes of Mongols. But before that, he prophesied where he would be found. White cranes, lend me your wings. I will not fly far away from Rathang. I shall return. So when I talk about him, I say exquisite leadership because when you're a leader, you should know what are the values and the systems you hold dear. And you should not be afraid of transgressing them if they stand more like an obstruction, more like a wall that stop you from connecting with your people, with your consumer. But you should be very aware of what the values that you stand for in the eyes of the consumer. And you should always come back to it. A transgression to connect, to be among with your people, to let them know you and you know them, is an effort, a step forward of expansion, of glorifying your values so that they are able to respect and take it further. It is about leaving those gems in the world much after you have gone, so that the values that you represent, the values your product, your brand, your leadership, your personality represents stays. And that is why it is very, very important to know that a sannyasi, an ascetic, is a person. Actually, he is not a person that does not own anything. He is a person who is not owned by anything. Know the difference and lead yourself and your organizations to glory.